Hey everyone, it's Ten Types, and today I wanted to highlight a few decks here from, I guess, all Paradox Swift decks, and they have some new cards. I think. Does this one have any new cards? I don't know. Put their decks in the new format that I think are really cool. I describe them as rogue decks. And yeah, let's take a look at the first one here. This one is focused around Scizor, and it has a few other things though. And I'd say that all these decks should be linked down below. And I think they have some really cool ideas and are potentially decent. They didn't all do amazingly. I think they are all over 500. This one's 4-3 at like online limitless tournaments. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Um, I've not played. I don't think any of these decks. Yeah, but you know they look cool, and I'll probably play them if you want to see me play any of them. Comment that down below, and of course, as I said, the links to the list will be down below in the description. But yeah, oh, and if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. It helps me out a ton, and it's free, and you can always undo it, so there's no reason not to. Yeah, so this deck's focused on Scizor, though. Scizor, if you don't know, punishing Scizors for 1 metal, it does 10 and 15 more for each damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. This means that it's hitting just a decent amount of damage. Additionally, 140 HP is not bad, as certain Pokemon hit. I don't know, not quite that amount. At least a lot of single prizers don't like at it. The Iron Hands, which a lot of people are kind of scared of, and single prize decks especially are kind of scared of, are they are not being KO'd. They are not KOing Scizor, which is really nice and very important. Potentially, I think Iron Hands is decent, but not like insanely good. But anyway, so yeah, Scizor is pretty cool. It can hit decently hard. You can do cut for 70, 70 for 2 as well, which is decent, but not that good, obviously. But then you also have Luxray here. Luxray, if you're down on prize, you can play it down. It does 180 for 3. I said you can play it down. You can play it down as a basic. You can't evolve. You can evolve it normally, but this deck doesn't play that. Most decks don't. And then so you need a reversal. I suppose you could get 2 energy plus a Luminous, but that's not really going to happen. But yeah, if you're down on prizes, you can use reversal, and then you're just one-shotting your opponent's Pokemon, hopefully, or at least two-shotting. One of these is a pretty decent amount of damage. It will KO the weaker Pokemon, like multi-prize Pokemon, and then, of course, weak Pokemon like Lugia, um, I guess Palkia. Palkia's not great right now, but has played a little. Pretty straightforward, but Barrel Scovit. It plays Clef as well, which is pretty cool. And then it runs Radiant Charizard. Radiant Charizard is obviously a very powerful Pokemon as well. Near the end of the game, for 1 fire, it'll be hitting 250. Overall, this deck's very straightforward, but I just run Echoing Horn, which is kind of cool. And a good card, as this can obviously be used to trap something, or to get something into play and just like annoy your opponent, or take some extra prizes like normal. But also it can be used as it essentially adds damage. If you're able to put a Pokemon with an ability into play, you'll be hitting 50 more damage that turn. Assuming you're attacking Scizor. Overall, though, again, it's a pretty simple deck, but one that I think is pretty cool. I would say in this deck, I would probably like to play one of the other Scythers, because there's a Scyther with 3 retreat. This next deck is focused on. Someone actually asked me for, well, not quite this deck, but something similar. I don't remember who it was. It might have actually been multiple people, and it is a deck that's on my radar. I don't know how good it is or how fun it is to watch or play. It's a fun concept at the very least. Sandy Shock's EX is a Pokemon EX. It is a past Pokemon, and you can accelerate to it with Professor Scizor's Vitality. But its ability says if your opponent has 4 of your prizes remaining, aka they've KO'd a multi-prize, which all your Pokemon other than Glare and Zapdos are, then you get to attach a basic Psychic Energy from discard to this Pokemon, and then it has Earth and Spike 200 for 3. We can move the energy off of Sandy Shocks onto a soon Arcanine V, and it hits 90 and 30 more for each fighting energy attached to it. You do need at least 4 fighting energy, or energy, which will be all fighting energy, attached to it, but that's not that hard to do. You can accelerate the Sandy Shocks, you can accelerate to Glare Zapdos on play, and then Koraidon EX also accelerates energy, ending your turn, but still decent, and Professor Scizor's Vitality. You can accelerate them to your Sandy Shocks, then move them back onto Hisuian Arcanine V. This deck doesn't play a ton of attackers, which seems a little sketchy, but overall the deck looks super fun. And as I said, someone recommended it to me, and I want to show that people had played it. You can, I don't know. The rest of it is pretty straightforward, kind of turbo-y. Honestly, the deck's kind of like Roaring Moon, and arguably just like worse than Roaring Moon, which is why I don't think it's super great, but you do have this like tankiness that Roaring Moon doesn't exactly have. I mean, Roaring Moon can't be tanky and be using its big one-shot insta-kill attack at the same time because you are going to damage yourself a lot doing that. So yeah, this is just a cool deck. But so the commenter also said comboing with Thornton and with Whiscash. Whiscash is instead of damage for each fighting energy attached to it, it mills a card for each fighting energy attached to it. So this is again the same concept. We move the energy onto Hisuian Arcanine V, but then you using its ability, but then you use Thornton to turn your Hisuian Arcanine V into a Barboach, which then you turn into a Whiscash, or you evolve into a Whiscash. And if your Hisuian Arcanine has been in turn for a turn in play for a turn, then you can Thornton it into Barboach and then immediately evolve Whiscash, which is pretty nice. And then you can do that if Diancie to hide behind, so hopefully they're not running counter. Well, I guess counter catch doesn't matter. Hopefully they're not running cross switcher. You won't be taking prizes at all with this deck, I don't believe. Your size vitality, so you want to get all these energy on. You'll be milling. Let's see, this other list went 3 and 2. This one went 1 and 3, so not as good. But I figured I don't think it's an amazing deck to play in terms of like power level, because especially on an open deck list against better opponents, because they won't like draw lots of cards, because why they do that? They're just gonna lose. But they you're able to mill. Let's see, so there's 1 per fighting energy. A reversal will be 3, so you got 12 plus, so it's 26 cards, which is really good. You can actually mill twice, but that's going to be awkward. You only have 1 Hisuian Arcanine V, and you can't recover that, so it's not really meant to mill twice. But still a really fun concept here, and potentially really, really good when it works, and if your opponent plays into it. A bit weird, though. Not the best, but it's cool. This next list I saw here was a little weird. It's a Shadow Rider, and then it has Mimikyu. I don't know why it has 20 something energies. The deck seems weird. It's just regular format. Let's see. Let's take a look at the top list here. Yeah, this looks like a regular standard deck. So I'm not sure why the deck is kind of weirdly built, but it went 4 and 3, and the main idea here is you have a bunch of baby Mimikyus, and you also have Mewtwo EX, which is a decent attacker. Your Shadow Riders, again, not sure why there's so many energies. But then you can go in with Blissey. You can kind of, I guess it's to set up to hide behind Mimikyu a bunch, and then to set up a big Blissey. Or big Mewtwo, and then you can just... Oh, no, sorry. You can also accelerate to the Mimikyus and then attack with Mewtwo, and the other Pokemon with energy aren't being targeted because they can't be KO'd. I don't know exactly what's going on with this deck, but I thought it was really funny. This is probably the worst of the decks we're going to look at, in my opinion. Like, it plays a bunch of copies of Pneumonia. It's not Pneumonia, it's Friends in Hisui and Friends in Sinnoh. Still, like, same card. Although, cool deck. I'm not exactly sure, as I said, what's going on here, but it's like a funny idea. And it's just a deck that was in the tournament, and it did decently well, which is kind of funny. Anyways, this next deck, actually we'll save that one for the, yeah, we'll look at this other one first, which is really interesting. It's based around a few different things, but first of all, it's based around, and it went 2-1-1, not amazing, but still interesting ideas here. Plays Alteria EX, so that's the big interesting thing. And it, by the way, it plays Toad School, which stops trainer cards and abilities from recovering cards from the discard into the hand, and then that that will stop various things. But some people may be wondering, why don't you play Toad School EX in this list? And that's because Alteria EX's attack does 140, and is, that Pokemon Alteria EX is immune to effects of attacks next turn. Same thing as the Toad School EX. And then Humming Heal, heal 20 from each of your Pokemon. And then you have a Rigid Band, so you take less damage. Your Alteria, any stage 1. And then Alteria EX heals. No Radiant Serena. They just play Radiant Greninja over it, which is probably the right play. And then you have your Alteria, this big one, which heals and moves the damage off of it. It's to your opponent's active, to any of your opponent's Pokemon, so it's kind of like healing plus snipe. It's really interesting. No Alteria EX, which I guess is, or baby Dragon Alteria, which I feel like could be nice, but it's not, which is fine. And then we got ourselves We got no spoilers except for Blanc. That's kind of like Welder. It's a bad version of Welder. Long story short, it's like a really bad version, but it is what this person is choosing to play. That's presumably why there's only one copy because it's not a great card. But then you have you can just manually attach. You can Crystal Cave as well to heal. So you can heal with all your Alterias. You can heal with Crystal Cave, heal with reduce damage with Rigid Band. So there's some cool stuff, really cool stuff going on here. And I think this deck actually is it's pretty decent. It's not amazing. Like you can get one-shotted by stuff. They end up losing to Roaring Moon, which makes sense. Is that easily one-shots you. But yeah, so overall, and then they tied against Lost Zone because yeah, this kind of is very much countery to Lost Zone, but Lost Zone also can kind of like eat some hits, and you're not going to like run through them. You're not running through any deck, but you need to take 6 KOs against Lost Zone most likely, and Lost Zone also most likely plays. I'm assuming this person plays multi-prizers. Why did they play against 3 other decks? That's kind of weird. And they lost to them. That's a bit unfortunate. Anything good in these? Oh, these are just miscategorized. Oh, I saw this on list as well. It went 1/1 drop. So I'm not going to cover. It's a control list, which is cool, but it went 1/1 drop. But yeah, the control player, yeah, they do have Roaring Moon. Oh, that's probably actually I don't know why they tied. I feel like with Roaring Moon you should win. But anyways, Alteria is a really interesting card. Alteria EX, single prize Alteria. I'll actually pull it up for those of you who don't know what it does. The deck also runs it runs the Radiant Ninja plus Energy Switch in Blanc, which can accelerate as well to Radiant Ninja. But mostly you're looking at Energy Switch to Radiant Ninja to attack with it, which is pretty cool. Next up, we got ourselves, this is I'll take a quick glance at this control list. Actually, yeah, I'll do that now. It's pretty straightforward. It runs Aegislash, which I don't think is very good because it's a stage 2, and that causes problems. And I would say Mimikyu is directly better than Aegislash, but aside from that, it runs Alolan Vulpix as well. And it runs Mawile. It runs normal control stuff. It's a pretty normal control deck. It does run Espeon, Sun and Moon Badge, which is fine. Although it can't attack with Espeon. Again, that's why I think Psychic's better than Metal. It's kind of like Aegislash Focus. It's very much built like Control, but it has a few weird things in it. But I'll pop link to this list down below in the description as well, I guess. But then this deck won. They won, right? Yeah, they lost their first match, but they won all the rest. With this insane deck. It runs Gardevoir Gallade Kirlia Engine. It runs Luxury as I guess the main attacker, but you can only attack with that if you're down. Glaring Moltres is only good at the end of the game. I feel like this deck's weird. Like you can't attack if you're doing well in the game, which is kind of strange, but I guess it's fine. It does run Minior, I guess, but that's mostly a control counter. Like you can't attack with Radiant Ninja or Manaphy. I mean, you wouldn't want to attack with Manaphy. But you can't attack with Radiant Ninja. You do have Slowbro again for the end of the game. But Luxray and Glaring Moltres are also good for the end of the game. A lot of weird stuff going on here, but they won. It has a lot of Raihan. Although Raihan doesn't help attack with Luxray. It helps attack with Glaring Moltres, I guess. But you can attack with Glaring Moltres anyway. It does help attack with Slowbro, though. A little, but you could do Reversal anyways. Some weird stuff. Super effective Glasses. You can attack with the Minior into Iron Hands if you're down and one-shot it. Or no, you don't need to be down. You can just attack into attack Minior with Iron Hands, one-shot with super effective Glasses. A lot of weird stuff going on here. If someone could offer a description as well of like why the different things are in here, I'd like that. It's kind of like Inteleon Toolbox. I like the Dark Inteleon box. It's a little weird. It feels like Luxray and Moltres and Slowbro are all kind of there in there for the same reasons. It's still a really cool deck though, and one that I'm happy to see do well. And some like interesting text. If like the Jirachi, I guess is fair. Like if you get Sableye, it's not good. And Luxray will be able to deal with Sableye, but it's not perfect. Overall, really cool deck here. One I wanted to show off at the end that did super well. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. You should definitely try out some of these decks. I'll definitely try out some of them. I make some of my own as well. I have some cool decks. Actually, check out. I did a live stream a few days ago. I might actually be live streaming today as well. I haven't decided yet. But keep an eye out for live streams this week. And in, I guess, the upcoming weeks. I don't know how often I'll do them, and if you're more interested in them, I'll do them more, and if I have, like, fun ideas, I'll do them more. But yeah, I'm interested in that, and I'm interested in hearing if you're interested in that. But as I said, if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I'd really love it if you do. I'm trying to hit. I'm really looking forward to hitting 1,000 subs. I'm not quite there, obviously. I'm a little ways off, but when I get that, I'll be super excited. And I've really been loving YouTube, doing it for like a few years now. And I hope you are too. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.